like it?
Oh, I totally don't remember. Here we will be discussing elongated skulls and the fringe theories that surround them. So most everyone who knows anything about elongated skulls know that they're usually surrounded or explained by aliens. It's usually because of Hollywood, through TV shows and movies such as Ancient Aliens, Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull, and the trilogy of Alien. But why are we assuming that aliens are the answer when they haven't been the answer thus far for anything else? Probably because it's boring. These skulls weren't found until the 1920s, so aliens weren't exactly talked about back then. So what did they think about it? The first elongated skull was found in 1925 in Victoria, Australia. It was thought to be an earliest ancestor, is what they were thinking. Due to the soils that it was found in, skeptics were saying that there was no way that it could have been the earliest ancestor because we had had other skulls, such as Australopithecines, who had been found within similar soil, and we had also had modern humans who were also found in similar soils in other regions. It wasn't until 1948 where elongated skulls came back into the media because there was a second skull found also in Australia. And then in the 1960s, several more skulls were found also in the regions of Australia. Aliens seem to be the go-to reason for everything and anything that can't be explained by science, for those who really want to believe it. There have been several different skulls that have had the term alien placed upon them throughout history, including the Paracas skulls from Peru, the Star Child skull, Atta from Chile, and the Nazi briefcase skulls. The thing with each of these alien skulls is that there's no connection between any of them. There's nothing that makes each of them look or seem the same. And I know it, aliens could have gone all over the globe. I cannot prove nor disprove that. That's why we're here, to talk about it. The next explanation that comes from it, other than aliens, would be the Nephilim. A Nephilim is a human, alien, animal, demon, whatever crossbreed that took over the earth millions and millions of years ago and is what created humans, basically. They use the Nephilim for their DNA, the commingled DNAs between this fallen angel and humans. However, how would a Nephilim and a human be able to procreate when dogs and cats can't even procreate? Do aliens and Nephilim have genitalia? Brian Forrester, someone who is very well known throughout the fringe or pseudoscientist world, actually had DNA taken from one of these Paracas skulls and supposedly had it tested. However, he did not give the information to who was testing it or any of their background information. It wasn't until later that it came out that it was tested by a man who is not the most reputable resource to have gone behind and has also done DNA testings for Bigfoot, Nephilim, and alien. Whenever this DNA test came out, it came across that there was a mitochondrial DNA that was not found within any other human or past human or even ape mitochondrial DNA before, and so there was a missing link between it that also came out as not being true. It was all normal, it's very human, there is nothing that can be denied about it. Brian Forrester and other fringe theorists also came out to say that the skulls were not thick, that human skulls are not as thick as these elongated skulls, and that there were also some other deformities throughout these skulls that are not common within humans, normal human skulls. I don't know if they ever took an osteology course or what their history with bones are, but they don't seem to be knowing exactly what's going on. Human skulls naturally can be decently thick, and you would think that whenever you are reshaping your skull to be super long, it would need more bone structure in order to keep it up, to withstand any damage, just like a regular skull would. So yes, they would be slightly thicker, maybe, but it would all just be to protect the skull. They also describe that the foramen magnum is further back on the skull than it is on a human skull, and in relation, whenever you are elongating the skull, it might be slightly further back, but looking at pictures of it, it's not as expansive as they are making it seem to be. If you still want aliens to be the reason, maybe you can look at it this way. Aliens came down to visit Earth, people enjoyed and thought of them to be these strong, powerful beings, and they wanted to be more like them, so they used them as an influence to begin to elongate their skulls through binding and other cranial modification purposes.
Are you going to talk about other reasons why there's modification?
Yeah, now I'm going into the more realistic.
Okay.
What's real? The Paracas skulls, along with other elongated skulls done from human-modified crania, that are found within Neolithic period people within Southwest Asia, the Huns, East Germanic tribes, North American tribes, South American tribes, within the Caribbean, and also within Australia, and most likely several others. All these have very similar ways of skull binding or boarding throughout their cultures. We have actual evidence of skull binding and boarding throughout each of these cultures, whether it be through a type of literature or drawing. The reshaping of these skulls was very much understood by each of these cultures. They understood that it would have to be done from infancy all the way up to about three or 4 years old in order to get the shaping that they would like. And in order to keep it that way, they most likely would need to keep them at least binding for several more years in order for the skull to take proper shape. The reason behind the skull modifications for these cultures was as a power move or for religious purposes. Those with elongated skulls were seen as gorgeous and beautiful for each of their cultures, and they were looked at as higher beings. Their understanding of this is very similar to that of foot binding, which is found in many Asian cultures. Other skulls that have been taken that are oddly shaped, you could say, are those just of children or people who have diseases that cause cranial modification, such as hydrocephalus, craniosynostosis, plagiocephaly, osteogenesis imperfecta, and several other diseases. Each of them have their own ways of reshaping the skull and have their own deformations, and it's kind of crappy that we take these children's and people's skulls and we have put them into freak show things, calling them aliens, when they're not at all. We've just taken a child's head and displayed it for the world to see. If you come across a skull that may look a little odd, don't touch it. Call the police, because sorry to burst your bubble, it's most likely not an alien.
Tell me about the parietal foramina.
Yeah. Okay. We left a part out. Yeah, we just left a part out.
I'm
so
putting
I was
it
like,
on
just
the
gonna toss
outside.
it in. I decided to wear the same shirt and a similar shirt and cardigan.
Okay. This one's interesting.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you'll want to hear this one. So they also mention 2 small holes that are on the backs of the skulls. These aren't a mystery to anyone who knows anything about osteology. These 2 tiny holes are called parietal foramina, and they are found on quite literally every single skull you will ever find. Foramina are found on pretty much every single bone within the human body, and the reasoning for them is not a mystery to us. They're used for circulatory and the nervous system in order to get in and out to the structures within them. A quote directly from theancientaliens.com stated, "Others suggest they are created artificially by a procedure that punctures the skull and inserts electrode connectors directly into the brain to facilitate the functioning of an attached apparatus of some sort."